Okay, I'm live. There we go. There's the better lighting. Cool. Live from my bedroom. I don't know if I get any viewers. I don't know how to tell. I'm very new to this. Do I have a viewer? Oh, cool. Okay. I'm super new to this. All right. We don't have all day, so I'll go ahead and get started. Mm. All right. Hi, Gina here, Cosmic Bodyguards. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're well tonight. Tonight I'm going to do something new-ish, which is I'm going to give a general astrology kind of overview of the signs, but I'm also going to pull some oracle cards for each sign and talk in general, depending on kind of what I get, but trying to keep it around the topics of love. I know love life has been pretty hard for people this year. It's been for me too. Um, but first, I'm just going to give a quick update about my personal life because it's been half a year and it's been half a year. It's June. Yesterday was my birthday. I turned 29 and I can't believe I'm 29. But what that means is if you study in astrology something called annual perfections, come on, Marley, it's okay. If you study something called annual perfections, then your 29th birthday will activate something called your sixth house profection year. So yesterday was my birthday, and so that activated my sixth house perfection year. And the sixth house is typically referred to as the joy of Mars, and Mars is the lesser malefic of all the planets. And so it's typically called the house of bad fortune. It's a cadent house, meaning it's falling away from our seventh house of relationships and our house of contracts and intimacy and fairness and goodness and all that is mystical and so it's a tired house. It's called the house of bad fortune. It's basically where in the sky, it's where if you think about how the sun goes around, it's at the point where the sun has set already, and now it's going down into the underworld. So actually, that's the year that I just started yesterday with my birthday. I activated my sixth house perfection year. I was just in my fifth house perfection year, which is about creativity and more short-lived romances and passion and sex. And it's about, I typically relate it to the father. It's not supposed to be that, but I've found that in my friends' fifth, they get pregnant or just something is related to their father in some way, or child birth and creation. So that's for my 28th year. That was pretty much my father died on March 2nd. And I thought I might get pregnant, but I had a short-lived romance for my 28th year, and it lasted 9 months or 8 months or something. It was great, though, in my opinion. Great and horrendous. But, one of Lucifer's fallen angels, I think. So, no, I'm just kidding. He's wonderful in his own special way. Okay, so I'm single now. I've been single now since February, since like mid-February probably. I am looking forward to dating again. I haven't been dating since all that because with that, and then my dad dying right after, and then COVID closing us down. I mean, and then riots in my city. There's been riots in San Diego, downtown, a couple of the nights. So it hasn't really been conducive to dating. It forced me to really stay home. And it also put me out of business big time. Like I had to really find a way to make sure my daughter and I ate, and I kept the lights on. I mean, it was like I had to be like, for lack of a better term, like I had to be my own daddy at that point, which was good for me. It was really good for me. Uh, I've been really working on, back to the house perfection year. I've been kind of looking towards like what this might be about, because the sixth house is the house of hard labor, like hard, excruciating labor. I think I might have given birth to my daughter right before the sixth house perfection year started, or might have been in my sixth house perfection year. I may have given birth to my daughter, which was like 24 hours. I didn't get an epidural. Um, I've noticed as I get closer to my sixth house perfection year, which is also about our health, our mental health. It's also traditionally called the house of disease. So it's a malefic house. It's not a good house. And my moon, representing my emotions, my inner well-being, my consciousness, my mother. My moon is in the sixth house uh, in the sign of Taurus. Sort of like my moon, and what the moon represents is actually, at the 0 degree mark, wherever you have planets at 0 degrees. To me, it means that that planet is going to experience in this life. It's meant to experience all that is in store for it. So there's something really pure on my moon, and it shows up in my life a lot. So today, actually, since yesterday was my birthday, this morning I woke up with extremely sharp stabbing pain near my liver again, because I ate a burger and a sundae last night for my birthday. And I haven't had a burger in a long time. Good. It was not worth the pain, but I immediately went out and I was like, I gotta like focus on my health today. I can't wait. I was doubled over, and I'm like, I am not going to the hospital. My ex-boyfriend taught me how to take care of my liver better. And I mean, I healed from it a lot. So I just tried to remember back to like what he taught me. So I went and bought like beets and greens and berries and stuff. So I drank like an entire blender full of that today. And I drank some liquid chlorophyll. I mean, that stuff is amazing. And I read online that you can rub castor oil literally on the area, on the skin. And that seemed to be the thing that worked for me. I put a lot in my hand and I sort of gave myself a massage. My health has been sort of faltering again. And I think it's because I ate a lot of like boxed and canned food during the lockdown. Um, it could be that. And starting last week, I started to have a really like, something was like wiping me out energetically. I was like knocked on my ass. It was really hard to get up. I usually walk a few miles a day, sometimes up to like 5 miles a day. And I've been running a lot. So I've been like really getting in shape. And I mean, I'm down to about 130 pounds. So I'm actually doing really well. My skin is getting really clear. My hair is like down to here. It's shiny and I'm getting healthier. But my body's going through changes. It's really weird. I'm 29. I don't know if that's normal. I didn't used to have abs, for instance. Like I had my daughter and I gained 80 pounds when I was 17 years old and pregnant with her. Say hi in the chat if you can. If you're on your phone, you probably won't be able to. If you're on the app, you might be able to. I know that I never am able to talk in the chat box when I'm watching on my phone, only on my laptop. So if you can't, that's okay. I see that there's somebody here, some people here. It's hard to see on my screen, it's tiny. But welcome. And yes, I'm trying to make this pretty fast so I don't talk about myself too much. Oh, I started noticing, right around the time my dad died, my body started to go through some changes, and my body started to be more firm. I don't know if I don't know. Sixth house just started yesterday. It's amazing that I wasn't even thinking about it consciously until an hour or two ago, where I'm like, oh my God, that's right. My sixth house just got activated. I'm kind of actually excited for this year, for the next 364 days, and seeing what my sixth house brings, because I know it means I'm going to be working my ass off, which I already started. I got a little part-time job actually, just to help me have something going on. I'm starting school in September, 2 classes, math and chemistry, that I really have to get done. I've been getting a lot of work. My clients started rolling in, and I got a massive opportunity that I can't even believe. I wasn't even asking or searching for it. I was praying for it. I could feel something wanting to come into my life, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be romance or if it was going to be work. I wasn't friends. I wasn't sure, but I could feel energetically something wanting to come in, and I couldn't quite be open and receptive to it yet. So I was really had some blockages happening. It was tough. I got through it on my own though, which is really badass. And oh yes, the opportunity that I got, that I decided on, it took me a little over a week to make the decision. I was really weighing the options. One of my stores, there's a witch store in San Diego. She's the oldest witch store in Normal Heights, the little town called Normal Heights. She's a little botanical kind of hoodoo shop. She's an amazing lady. She offered me a position to be their go-to astrologer, to be giving readings to people, and told me if I can quickly get my website together, a menu, decent pricing, and my cards and everything, that I can start. And I was like, oh my God, that's a big deal. So yes, I've been thinking about that a lot. I finally said yeah, and then I told my friend Tony, and then it became real. I started having felt like a panic attack once I finally told her. She's like, what? Because that, in the little witch, in our witch community, that's amazing. I couldn't believe it. And I felt overwhelmed at first, because astrology reading I can get sometimes overwhelmed, because you can get so lost in it. There's so much. And I kind of just decided to go back to basics, go back to what's really simple. And it helped me actually develop a new part of my program for women that I've been wanting to add on, because it was missing things. It had missing parts to my program. It didn't feel complete. And it brought me to this awareness that I've been really pondering on, which is, at this point in my life, and any women that would come to me for romance coaching and feminine energy coaching or spiritual guidance coaching, through that process of transformation that can be incredibly spiritually violent internally, the shift, for some of us, depending on what it was before you started transforming. I decided that the reason why every area of my life that was suffering, it was because it was complicated. And we have very complicated and complex systems in our society. We have, I mean, we are complex creatures. We have the highest level of consciousness that we know of on Earth. But you think about people who are trustworthy and who are reliable, and you can count on them a lot. And they all seem to have something in common, which is that they're simple people. They might be very deep, but that's not the same thing as being a complicated person, right? I think we can conflate the two things. That complicated or complex as a characteristic or as an individual doesn't necessarily coincide or equate to depth as a person. In fact, that's what came to my awareness for me. The revelation I had, or the download I had, was, in fact, at this stage of my life, it might be quite the opposite, is that we can appear like we are very deep, but in fact, those little caverns aren't really accessible to ourselves or to others because we have so much emotional, mental, and energetic chaos going on within us. It's like you're anybody that falls in love with you, or any friends or family or client that kind of comes into your life, they have to walk through mazes to access you, to access the depth, including me for myself. It sort of started where I was like, what happened when I met my ex-boyfriend? Something sort of magical began right then. It was kind of unlike anything I'd had before. And I thought, I wonder what was I doing then? What was I doing right then? What happened? What was some of the factors that happened that made that flow in and become so simple for us to be like, yes, this is us right now. This is obvious. It's clear. It's like, this is true path. It feels true. Well, one of the things was there was a certain like simplicity, I think, with me, that he got to feel and experience or enter. For instance, I'll show you my house. Up until a month ago or so, my house was completely cluttered. I mean, my dad's clothes and his belongings were in my hallways. There was like fabric softener sheets everywhere, dust, and it was getting worse and worse. And I was like, I hate feeling like this. I don't feel like I have access to myself or parts of myself that I used to, and I would really like them back. And it really was that. I was like, I thought, what happened when I met him? Like, what made that so true and obvious for us? What made it feel so good? And like, there wasn't really resistance there. There was a good, sexy kind of tension, but there wasn't this resistance or these mazes to go through. It just flowed, and it felt so good at the time. I mean, it felt so like healing. It felt really healing. And one of the factors was that he came into my house, my actual house, and it was full of space. Like, I have high vaulted ceilings, for instance. So when you walk in, I have hardwood floors and white walls, not a lot hanging on the walls or anything. But then I have these high vaulted ceilings. So there's just this instant feeling that you're like, you can breathe, and there's space to create. There's space for opportunities here. And then, every room kind of feels like that. One thing I had in my bedroom, I had a big yellow like comforter I was trying to use for springtime, and I didn't realize how much it was bothering me, as stupid as that sounds. I didn't realize how badly that, like negatively, that was frustrating me because I had so much other bullshit all over the place. And really, I think I felt safe in my clutter for a little while because I am the type of person that seems very available to people. There's something about my energy that is like this, and it wants to pull it. People pull themselves into me, and I didn't feel available for the last few months. I didn't energetically. I pull life into me. I very rarely go out and like go after things because every time I do work that way, it goes badly. It's sort of like I'm on Tinder right now. Mostly it's like field research, in my opinion. I'm just observant. Very respectful dudes get, talk to me. They want to take me on dates and stuff. They're really nice, actually. But if it feels like effort, feels like a certain kind of forced effort. It doesn't feel like God's divine timing for me to go on Tinder. It feels dirtier for me in some way. Um, Maybe that's my own ego or something. It just doesn't have that flavor that it's mine. Doesn't feel like my door. But yeah, so I decided, man, what was I doing before when I met him? Because I liked the way life flowed into me in that moment. That was perfect. That felt very divine, right? Um, that was God. Where is God in my life right now? I don't know. So one by one, I decided to, over the last, maybe it's been 2 months now, actually, I decided to do a full on restructuring of my life, which started little by little, just every day. I was going to do something a little bit, a little different every day, a little something. And then I was going to do that again the next day and the next day and the next day. The tiniest little things like, organizing my hangers in the right way so they're accessible, and organizing my shirts and my dresses and putting them my shoes and getting rid of shit. My last and final project for my bedroom was going through my armoire. I have a little closet and then I have an armoire, and I really had to grieve it. I actually am about to start crying right now. Yeah, sorry. That was my ex-boyfriend's his closet, and there was like little remnants of his stuff still in there. And immediately after my dad died, I actually went and filled that up with all my dad's clothes, and I just didn't really open it for all that time. It was so painful. The smells and the smells of cedar and stuff like that coming through it. And then finally, that was like one of the big things that felt like a huge energetic block was lifted from my life when I finally like up, and I kind of made a ritual out of it actually. I lit candles and I prayed, and I probably sound crazy right now. Feel vulnerable, but I actually created a ritual out of it to kind of get spiritual permission from my dad on and put his stuff away. To like get it out of my life. Most of it. So I picked a few. I picked his Dodgers sweater and one knitted looking sweater that he used to wear, and I packed his things away, put them away, and I cleaned out the rest of it, and I put my stuff in there. So, but more importantly, I created my house to feel like there's space to live again, my own life again. So, sorry. Yeah, I'll show you guys my house. I've never really been able to because it was so messy, but so I did what I did before. What felt best for me was having lots of white stuff all over the place. My blankets are white. I started occupying the whole bed again. Yeah, so I like things to just be really simple and kind of boring. And clean my closet out. Feels good. I got rid of a bunch of stuff. I got rid of any colors that felt like neon feeling, like things that just were sort of aggravating me or like inflaming my feelings. Yeah, so yeah. I mean, I have a lot of dresses. But essentially what I was doing was sort of seeing like, you know, and a lot of the drawers are empty. What I was doing was like, I don't have space even for a man in my life right now, even if I really wanted to. My life around me, my environment is telling me right now that I don't. You know, any man, friends, physically, you know, there's just no space for anybody to be here in my life. This is my thing. So I just, day by day, I started calling my bill people that I was avoiding. I started forgiving myself for things, and I decided to, I decided this year, after my dad died, that I wasn't going to lie ever again. And I got into the habit of lying a lot. And that's what ended up ultimately destroying my relationship, was I lied about money. And I regret it majorly. But this is my house. I sort of moved my couch back to the place that it was. And I just allowed the space again. I allowed myself to the option of occupying not so much space anymore and just having what feels right. I started cluttering areas that I would have cluttered without my ex-boyfriend being here. I feel like such a psycho, like, okay, let it go, right? But yeah, I have all of the fixed signs occupied with planets. I have, and I got a shit ton of my yard work done, by the way, which was such a feat. I listened to Tupac the whole time. I got like on a Tupac binge. That was good. I needed that. And ambitions. And I started listening to military interviews. Like, they really motivated me. There was one particularly by a guy named Dakota Meyer, was a Marine actually, and he earned the Medal of Honor in Afghanistan. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, but he also was on, I think his name's Jocko Willink. Wow, that one really pushed me to like get my shit together and stop fooling around with my life. And with all this space, and I'm like, I can breathe again. I can think clearer than ever. I don't need to lie anymore. I don't know. It feels true. It doesn't feel complicated as much anymore. You know, I don't want to be a complicated person. I don't want to be complex and constantly shifting and moving around within myself. I don't want somebody to figure me out. I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be available for that ever again. um, it won't be the last winter of my life, but it will. I feel like I just grew out of a certain type of personality that I was before, which was more childlike. And that energy within me, that part of my personality that's sort of little and is seeking like a daddy figure, seeking somebody to create stability for me. See, I'm being very real right now. This is true. And just behave generally like childlike, elf-like, fairy-like, princess-like, maiden-like. I can retain that, but she's not really welcome right now, I guess. She's not quite that part of me. I don't know. I think she might have died with my dad, or she might have went with my ex when he left, and that's fine. He can keep her. So, all right. Thanks for letting me update you. Hi, Marley. Hi. No. All right. Okay. What are we going to do? We're going to do some card readings. We'll just start with Aries. And I think that's a good idea. We're going to use my Kim Cran's deck, the Wild Animal Oracle, Animal Wild Unknown. And I use Colette Baron Reed's Spirit Animal Oracle deck. And don't worry. Let's see what, my little girl cat's so sensitive. She's so responsive. I am looking forward to falling in love again. I would really like that feeling. I don't know. I was looking at my birth chart. I don't look at it as much anymore because I know it by heart, but also because it used to make me a little bit neurotic. So, and I'm just like, I'm creating negative things in my life if I sit there and focus on it. And you become more like maybe jaded around your own chart because you're looking at other people's charts so much, and that's much more fascinating in my opinion. I would rather people look at my chart and tell me what they see, because there's so many blind spots that I can't see. So I have my 6th house activated. My moon is in Taurus in the 6th. The ruler of Taurus is Venus, and Venus is in the 9th house, in the sign of Leo. And she's also conjunct Jupiter and Mars in a tight conjunction. So 9th house is the house of spirituality, higher learning, esoteric knowledge, far distance travel. It also can be the house of your second husband, apparently. The house of your second husband. So yeah, I have Jupiter and Mars, which represents masculine energy, masculinity, conjunct Venus. But I also have those 3 planets, Mars particularly in an exact opposition with Saturn in Aquarius, so in the 3rd house. So I'm curious to see everything in my chart actually aspects the 9th house, all of it, because my sun is in the 7th house in Gemini, Mercury in the 7th house in Gemini, Pluto and Scorpio in the 12th. I have Jupiter trines my ascendant. So they're all like, there's lots of aspects going on in my chart. It's very messy if you look at it, because essentially several planets are occupying the cadent houses. The the angular triad, I guess you would call it. Like they occupy 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th. So that's, some people would look at my birth chart and say, wow, you have a really unfortunate birth chart. It sucks. But I don't care. I like my life. I've had a good life. It's been filled with bouts of tragedy, but I've come to realize that, you know, with God, with the help of God and the divine, another way to think of tragedies, living through tragedies is a miracle. So I have witnessed a lot of miracles in my life. So received miracles. All right, let's do Aries. I'm excited to do these cards. I've been doing them a lot more. Seventh house perfection year will be when I turn 30. That'll activate my relationship house. Maybe I'll get married again. Yeah, because Venus, my planet of love, is the ruler of my 6th house, conjunct Jupiter and Mars. So, you know, it's funny. I can feel a type of lover wanting to come in. Like I can feel that around me. I can feel energy coming toward me and wanting to come in. And I don't want, this might be weird. I don't know. For me, I don't like having sex with a lot of people, with a lot of men. I don't like it. And I need to be in a relationship before I do that, like a committed one. And I would rather wait to do that because it really messes with me if I do it too soon with somebody. It's a really bad idea for me. I don't freak out. It doesn't feel good. I don't feel as relaxed. I don't know. It doesn't feel like some joyful, blissful, hedonistic act. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. Okay, what are we going to get for Aries? Aries. Aries, you have Mars. If you're an Aries rising, you have Mars moving in swiftly to your 1st house very soon. Hello. And so I think I said this in another video. Your 1st house represents your physical body and your personality and kind of your consciousness. And Mars can increase your sex drive for sure, aggression, inflammation. So you want to take care of your body right now for the next 7 months. This is a good opportunity because you might have a lot of energy though, which isn't that an awful feeling when you feel like you're like glued to the couch? I hate that. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. Bear with me. I'm just getting used to this again. I mean, I'm doing it more. I'm just getting used to it again. You might be feeling like Aries, you might be feeling like you have your planet, your ruling planet moving through Pisces, which he's not very happy in Pisces right now. He's moving through, he's agitated and, he can't fully express or he's not so welcome or comfortable there. So you might be feeling like, and it's in the 12th house, which is very hard to explain. But it's a type of collective unconscious. It rules institutions and hospitals. Um, but with everything going on right now, I imagine Aries rising might be. Hold on. You might be interested in these protests. I don't want to like capitalize on what's happening. I think, it's horrible. It hurts. I hate when a lot of people are in pain. And I think we need to, as a society, also learn how to be with pain and grief before we keep trying to change it and make African American problems convenient for people. Like, oh, I've noticed that a lot. Noticed that a lot. There's a lot of clutter and noise filling up the internet space right now. You know what? I You've got this card here, the Dragonfly Spirit. Truth transcends illusion. It breaks down to the number 4. Number 4. Huh. Did you just have a problem with your career? Hold on. I'm getting a lot of aggressive energy right now, but it's almost like your bark might be louder than your bite, or you might seem more intimidating than you really are online. The way you vocalize, the way you write might sound inflammatory, but it's really heart-centered, like very heart-centered. But maybe you might have a blockage in being able to really express that. And it sometimes might be hard to determine what's your beliefs and what is true. Like, because our beliefs aren't always true, right? I mean, where are we dealing with certain illusions? This is the dragon card right here, and that symbol there is the alchemical symbol for ether or spirit. It's the only spirit card that came up, but there's only 6 in the deck, so out of 72, I think, or something. So it's always significant when we get a spirit card. Look at that card. Isn't there so much power in this freaking card? You don't even get the full color. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the intricacies. But you only get the eye. There's only an eyeball in this card. So there might be lots of things that you can't see, you know? And it's important it might be important to recognize that that's always important, right? Assuming that other people know things that you don't. Hold on. I always like when the spirit cards come out. That's why I'm going to read the book because it deals with a certain chakra and I'm going to let them say something for me. The book is good. Oh, interesting. Okay. Dragon, seeing one's most true self, balancing the ego. The dragon sees everything. Its essence has been with us. Whew. I'm getting a lot of energy passing through me from the heart space and down into this region in my womb space. It's just like, whew, I just got a warmth, like energetically moving through me. So that was interesting. The dragon sees everything. Its essence has been with us since before our first breath. and will be there at our last. It watches us navigate the external world as well as our inner world. When dragon energy is awakened, we are courageous, visionary. Visionary, that's cool. Okay. And can easily drop into witness consciousness. Ooh, mm, that's like masculine energies, that witness. Mm. Yeah. Okay. So it is almost as if we are traveling with a great friend inside of ourselves. When we look into the mirror, when we look in the mirror, deep into our eyes, we may even glimpse the self, behind the self. Ooh, the one who is watching us. I'm going to pause real quick. This happens to me, and I don't know if there's an actual word for it, Aries, but this happened to me last night, and it happens like 4 times a year or so throughout my life. And last night, I was sitting on the couch, eating that poisonous burger, watching a fabulous show on TV. I rarely get into TV shows, but this one is gripping. It has me, man. It has me inspired. It's got me. God damn it. It's called Turn Washington's Spies, like George Washington's Spies. So it's about the American Revolution. I think it is brilliant. That's why on my cover photo there is a photo of me in Boston, actually, reaching up to the sky, kind of like it's just representative of space, or just, reaching up, reaching above you. But I had this moment where I had to pause the show, actually, because it's a really uncomfortable sensation when this happens. But I get this feeling like I become hyper aware of my own existence for a second. I don't know if anybody. I become very hyper, like it's a real meta feeling, and it fades really fast. It doesn't last very long, but I just get this. It hits me like, whoa, I am alive. I am a human. I don't know. I don't know if it's because my mental state is so engaged in a TV show that I'm like fully unaware of myself, and then I'm re-entering my body. I'm not sure what it is, but the feeling of that is so yucky to me. I hate that. I don't like being detached from it. It's icky. I like being in my body a lot. So let me continue. That just reminded me of that. The self behind the self. The one who is watching us. This is the power of the dragon breathing transformative fire into every cell of our bodies. Witnessing this omnipotent energy, even for a brief moment, helps us surrender and let go. We let the dragon guide us. We hop on its back for a ride. And as we traverse even the most difficult terrain, the dragon's eyes see beauty everywhere. It is said that if a yogi does not see beauty in the world, their Agni is dim. Agni is described as inner fire or sacred intelligence. May even just the mention of the dragon stir the embers of intelligence with you. I feel my intelligence in my body, not so much in my head. My power, my feelings, my consciousness. This sounds really weird and hard to explain, but I feel it right here. It gets really warm, like in my womb. And then from there, I feel a warm sensation wanting to move out and then up and in around my ears. Like I get that. I got that when I was interpreting your cards. I started to feel hot around my ears. So that might mean something for you. But the dragon card is representative of the third chakra. And watch me just ruin the words of these chakras. I don't know. The subtle energy of the dragon lives at the navel center. Oh, I swear to God, I didn't know that by heart. That's amazing. In the Manipura chakra. Manipura translates to the city of hidden gems. And behind its gates burns the fire of our transformation and digestion. The sages believe health of the fire at the navel center is what governs our ability to clearly see both the inner and outer dimensions. See you in relation to your society. You're both things. You're not just you fighting a cause. You're also a part of a society and a group. I mean, whether we even live as hermits, like I live a lot as a hermit. Ooh, what was that? That was spooky. I live a lot as a hermit, right? I spend a lot of time alone, and in my own contemplation. Stop being worried, because you're going to make me very worried. It's okay. Sorry. One moment. Sounds like somebody's out there walking around, huh? It's okay. It's okay. Oh, I hate when that happens, you guys. It's okay. It's okay. All right. Yeah. I apologize. Sounds like there's somebody like right at my window right here, actually. It's probably a possum or something like that. A raccoon or a coyote. Right around eclipse times, weird stuff happens with animals, and like snakes will come up out of the canyon and stuff. I'm not even kidding. You'll see coyotes running around earlier than usual. And my cats get a little on edge, especially this one right here who's been hunting mice. Yeah, feels good to be a hunter for you, huh? That's you how you feel best. Okay, Aries, I hope that did something for you. Now, yeah, you're not separate. You have a separate consciousness. You can allow yourself to listen to your conscience and see what's right. I saw a woman say something today on Facebook to a guy who was advertising for his business. I mean, we have to keep making money. And she said, you should be using your platform only to be a voice for what's going on right now with the protesting. Shame on you. She said, literally, shame on you to him for trying to sell his products. And I was like, no, there should not be shame. No more shame. Like, Jesus Christ, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked in the past. It's not going to work today. Like, he needs to make a living. We have to take care of our immediate surroundings if we want to be able to be present for a cause. Um, that useful Aries energy that can be so aggressive and directive and goal oriented and focused, it tiptoes between, there's a fine line between that and being hostile and aggressive. Once you get that under control and you do it under voluntary control, don't wait for a freaking prison program to put you away, to be able to just voluntarily go into that and start to bring that under civilized control. You have to recognize too, and this goes for every sign and anybody. Sometimes we were brought up being friends with everybody. So you know, especially like Christian kids or just, those youth camps, be cool with everybody, belong to no specific group. Um, that's really damaging to certain people's development of personality and their truth and in their essential self. It's very hard. It's it's hard to break out of that programming because um, So, people like that grew up being friends with everybody and not belonging to a clique or whatever, just not wanting to make waves or disappoint any group, never really having any real needs either, like foregoing needs. Um, it's really hard to recognize ways that we are actually racist especially when we've grown up in those inaction, like don't pick a cause, good or bad. Don't pick a cause. I don't know if that's making sense, but it's it's like being that's like as adults, it's like the same thing as saying I'm moral. Like I get along with every group, so I'm not racist at all. So that makes me moral, right? But it's not good to be moral if you can't be otherwise. Like, so there are people that don't realize that they haven't reached that point yet, and that might be the Aries, and it might be people that Aries is interacting with, that they haven't crossed that threshold yet where um, they realize that they're actually capable of evil, or they're capable of causing harm or damage with their inability to make their own decisions. Like, um, it's better to not be a thief than to be a thief, right? But sometimes you have to forego one law, one basic law for a higher order law. Um, like Lord of the Rings, in Lord of the Rings, they have to steal the ring. And I don't know where I'm going with this. I forgot. I don't even know any. Okay, so it's not good to be moral if you can't be otherwise, right? And a lot of people are going through a certain wave right now in the world at this time where they're realizing um, that they're not, just because they can't choose a side, just because they are imbued with their beliefs, um, and it doesn't even cross their mind ever that they could possibly be racist, because they don't make waves. They get along with everybody. They're welcoming of everybody, right? Um, they think that makes them good. Okay, it's not up to us to keep telling everybody why they're not. Sometimes a person can recognize how they need to change through our own grace and humility. It's really strange. We can't control everything, We can't control everything. And these situations like these that are so aggressive, that can become inflamed. If more people think you're inflamed and angry and irritable than not, you probably are. More people are telling you that you're being mean, you probably are. If more people are telling you that you're not doing very well in your life right now, that you're headed down a dark path or something, or you're headed down hurting a cause more than helping a cause, they're probably right at this time. And I say that because Mars is in your 12th house. So it's going to move into your first house, though. That could um, it could manifest as an injury, a cut, a car accident, a fight. So you do have to temper yourself, Aries. Okay, recognize that. Oh, ew. What's that, Mar? All right, Taurus. Thank you, Aries. Have a good month. Okay. Taurus, let's find out what we can get for Taurus. That would be me because of my moon, right? I identify strongly with it, as with all the Taurus archetypes. Heavily afflicted moon in my chart. Moon square Saturn. Moon square Venus. It's just bullshit, my chart. This is why astrology is so amazing, because you can do electional astrology. My mom could have picked like an hour later to have her C-section, and it would have described a different karmic path, a different life, right? It would be describing something different. Those aspects, it's a little bit of a blueprint, or like our birth chart is like a blueprint, or um, a map, essentially, of how we can transcend the 3D life. And, we Taurus, sometimes, I don't know why I'm getting this with Taurus. I'm getting a vision of standing in line at the grocery store, wanting badly to get out of your house. Like, I'm picturing a grocery store that has had its rules drastically changed so that we all have to stay very distant. And you dying to get out of your house and be out in the fresh air and in the regular world, only to realize that the world is not the same anymore, and that now these new ways of being in like the grocery store and how everything moves a lot slower, it feels like a hindrance. In our birth charts, that's how planets can be interpreted, as helpers or hindrances. So they're always different. They manifest differently throughout everybody's chart, depending on their degree placements, their aspect, the way that the planets are interacting with each other, and what houses they fall in, and what signs, whether it's night or day. I mean, it's very intricate, this beautiful system. But one planet or one aspect that might have seemed like it was a helping aspect in your life at one point, it could become a hindrance, right? So, desire to get out and be around people and moving around and shopping now has become an aggravation, has become, you can't wait to run back home. And I mean, that misery is better than being out in the real world. I mean, this is the real world now, as we know it. We have to find ways to enjoy it for what it is. But you've got the snake card here, and it tells me two things, actually. Tells me, isn't that a lovely card? It tells me that everything moves in cycles. Sometimes our planets help us, sometimes they hinder us, and they get activated at different times in different ways, and we're not in control. I guess that's coming out again too. We're really not all that much in control. I'm also seeing a snake that my lights are flickering. Actually, that's pretty cool. This is like a snake eating its own tail. So to me, it's sort of reminding me of that moon square Venus aspect, where you have a loyalty to your parents, your early caregivers, who disappointed you and didn't meet your needs necessarily, who weren't available to you emotionally, and who didn't allow you to develop your capacity for desire, and then having certain desires met. So like boundaries around desire and what's appropriate for you, and for your level of the way you're engaging with the world, and what's not appropriate for you right now, and they didn't nourish that. They didn't nourish that. And so what can happen is you'd never feel satiated enough. You go round and round and round. You might be having the same argument with your spouse or family over and over and over. It's the same argument. It never gets resolved. Oh, you know what? Interestingly, you've got the mouse card here. These are both the alchemical symbols for Earth. And this card, to me, it's a fastidious attention to detail. And the other interpretation of this for me is like tending to the small things. So not trying to eat your own tail in trying to make your argument right, in this complicated web, this complex system, and rather just going back to what is simple so that you can get down to what is true, right? Okay, let me pull that snake out. Oh, wow, Cobra was right behind it. This one was right behind it. Fire sign, Cobra. Whoa, and those are two separate things, right? That seems a lot more docile than that. So now this has shifted, actually. This has shifted. This is passive aggression, actually. And the way this is going to manifest is as, for women, oftentimes this manifests as inner problem, body issues. You're having like, it manifests as like health problems for women often, or like overeating, like self-flagellatory eating, like overeating, eating stuff is not good for you. That's how it can manifest, because you're holding in the anger. You're actually real angry about something, but you might not know exactly what that anger is. And so you have to get simple again. It's okay to be angry also. I just want you to know it's actually okay to express anger. You might be afraid that the people in your life can't hold it. They can't contain that, right? You might not know if you're deserving of expressing needs and anger because you weren't taught that that was important. And you have this loyalty to your upbringing, the people who didn't teach you to express properly. So you feel smaller than you really are. There's an imbalance there. Let me see what these ones say. Oh, the swan came out. The swan came out. Actually, you know what? Right now it's coming out like this. Taurus. You might feel a little agoraphobic, actually, like you're afraid of all the options that you have. And so, yeah, you have a lot of options. And you might have a lot of emotional options presenting themselves to you internally. Like you might be very happy 1 minute and then angry an hour later. And so you don't really know which one is right. You're not alone in that, though. That's okay. You're not alone. You just got to find some equilibrium, right? And then you shouldn't really argue from a triggered place either. You shouldn't make decisions out of an angry place. Because it usually won't be the right decision for you or your family or friends or lover. Let me see. Tell us more, please, about some advice for this situation. It's inflammatory. It's like it's aggravating. That one wants to come. Oh yeah, mouse. Here it is. 4. Something going on in the home. Mouse. That's double confirmation right there. So cute. It's interesting that I was talking about my cat catching mice, right? Tend to the small things. Tend to the small things or they tend to you, right? Choose or it chooses for you. You can't complain. Nobody will feel sorry. Let me see here. God, Cobra energy is so aggressive. What else can we get? A Cobra, and Cobra's looking like right at the freaking mice. That's amazing. Huh. more. Oh, we got another 4. Be fearless and bold. I picture like somebody wanting to tell somebody something but feeling clownish doing it. They feel like a caricature almost, or like they're making a fool out of themselves or something. Like they just don't feel entitled to do it naked if it's your spouse. I don't know why I just got that. Just don't hide behind your decorations and your garments, you know? Guys get naked and have the conversation. And then maybe his cobra will I'm kidding. Oh my god. Okay. What else can we get? One more thing for sweet Taurus. I'm getting sexual desire. Yep. The look in this badger spirit's eyes. Be fearless and bold. Tend to the small things, Taurus. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Anything else? Taurus, okay. Dear spirit, bring a gentle touch. All right? So be fearless and bold, but bring a gentle touch. I would say be warm, but know exactly what you want. Which means you might need to clear out some of that clutter going on inside of you and around you in order to know what it is you do want. Right? Pleasure. I always want pleasure. I love pleasure a lot. So that's it for Taurus. Gemini, let's move on. I'm going to move actually to the older signs. I'm going to go backwards and move to Pisces, and then I'll swoop back around when I feel like it. These are kind of the younger signs. So now I'm going to swoop back down into Pisces real quick. Capricorn. Okay, I guess I'm going to do Capricorn. Sorry for the confusion. It just gets feelings in me, and I just listen. Cappy. What are we going to get for Caps? Cap rising. We have Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn right now in his fall. America doesn't like that cycle every 12 years, particularly, the U.S. doesn't do so well. And when U.S. isn't doing well, the rest of the world suffers. Why is it like that? It's just like that right now. And so we have to practice that maintenance. I think we do. The world is so weird right now. It won't be like this forever. Because we are incredibly adaptable people, especially Capricorns. Capricorns are the most reliable people I know. I mean, I don't really get along with them very well. They sit in my second whole sign house of values and income and belongings. And for me, I don't know why, but I always have trouble with them. Like, I can get exploited by Capricorn people in some ways. I used to, not so much anymore, but I used to. Seemed to be they could extract money from me in ways that I wasn't fully aware of until later. They feel more powerful than me too. I feel intimidated, and I usually end up feeling there's usually a power exchange dynamic there in some way financially that plays on my value, my self-worth. And usually they don't want me to, they haven't in the past wanted me to charge what I want it to charge. So, it's a negative emotion experience around the finances there. But, I'm trying to work on that. So take responsibility for that. It's my responsibility. Tell us about Capricorn. Capricorn's probably least likely to watch this. Planets in Capricorn, the planets that you have in Capricorn are late bloomers. So I have, it's a societal pairing. I have Neptune and Uranus in Cap in the second house. They're usually late blooming planets. So when Saturn makes a second swoop around in your late 20s, early 30s, usually those planets start to mature in that area. And then they become, the Cap planets can usually start to become really, really profitable. So they unfold, they bloom over time. I can feel that whole area of my house, of my chart, activated the last few years, grinding, churning the shit out of my life, but really refining certain aspects of me. Look at Tigger, so sweet. Oof. Okay, so I got Wolf Spirit, which says to turn knowledge into wisdom. I also got the Grasshopper Spirit, which says to take a leap of faith, but it's in the reverse. It's in the protection message, possibly suggesting against it. And also in the reverse is the Canary Spirit, which says to sing your own song. The last message that came out next to that was Wasp Spirit, which says sometimes life stings. Stings. I wonder what's going on. The Grasshopper Spirit reminds me of Jiminy Cricket. And Jiminy Cricket was like our conscience, right? Are you not listening to your conscience? Or is your conscience telling you that you know what to do, you know what the answer is deep in your bones, that you already know what the answer is? You know what to do. You've been through this before, possibly. And your mind, or your desire for it to want to be different, the situation is something that's telling you, you've done this before, Cap. You already know. Why are you doubting yourself? Whoa. Both of these came out in the reverse, and they both wear the same colored little crown. I just noticed that. See the crown? Upside down. Huh. Golly. Turn knowledge into wisdom. Sometimes life stings. Yeah, and when it rains, it pours, And sometimes you're going to look like you're a frog to a few princesses, and you might not be, Sometimes we're a little too quick to tell a man he's low value, he's not worth anything. And this card is telling me to temper yourself. You might be feeling some jealousy right now. What's going on, Capricorn? Frog reflecting in the eyes of a panther. Maybe it's a projection that you think that you're shittier than you actually are. Somebody spitting venom at you? You getting stung by a very aggressive person who you feel very slimy and small around? Oh, Capricorn, it will pass. What's going on with Cap right now? Saturn retro in your first house. Oh, no. Saturn is gonna be moving back into your first house. So any issues that you were having for the last couple of years around your physical health, around personality issues or healing, your body, if you had a particular issue that you've been dealing with for the last couple of years specifically, that felt really restrictive, you might have a second kind of bout with that. You might have to dance with that for 6 months or so coming up here soon, but it won't be permanent. It shouldn't be permanent. Where's that Neptune, Mars, Sun square happening in your chart? Sorry, third. Okay, this is a pretty clear message. You also got Peacock and Unicorn in reverse, which you might have recently lost some popularity, or you might not be feeling very physically attractive right now. You might be feeling like you're getting old, actually. I don't know. And like you maybe aren't as fresh and youthful in your looks or in the way you're turning up in the world, or like there's this disconnect in the way you perceive things. Like you might have an older, wiser approach, viewpoint. You might not be acting on it. People might not really take you seriously in that way yet. You might be a younger person who sort of thinks in an older, more old-fashioned way. Wow. I'm seeing a Capricorn who's like making racist remarks or something, or like accidentally on the internet and getting dogpiled by people who are telling you that your ideas aren't your own. That's so frustrating. So it's really tough. And like losing, having some kind of fall from grace. Sometimes it's better to just humble ourselves and assume that they might be right and we don't really know. Like, it's better to just say, I'm going to wait it out and just see and be a little more open and see how that goes. Yeah, nothing to kill a freaking really lengthy, positive online experience for the last 4 months with our friends and family as a highly polarizing, negative dogpiling experience because you typed a few words that were perceived wrong. So that's my advice for Capricorn. Moving on to Aquarius. Yeah. We'll do Aquarius, and then we'll see how I feel And I might do part 2. I'll probably do part 2 tomorrow because I like this live. It's a lot easier. I can just kind of set up and then click go instead of record my videos and then upload them. It's sort of it's just too much. So it takes like over an hour to upload a video. I don't know why. My laptops are slow and just... Oy. No. Aquarius. Okay, this one wants to come out for you. It's Buffalo Spirit. It's a number 1, and it says, the abundant universe will provide. I agree with that. My dad used to live by that. In some way, it's true. I mean, I grew up impoverished, but there was a sense that spirit was providing in some way for us. Some way. You might be missing a feminine presence in your life, particularly. You might have that energy is not there for you in yourself or just in the people around you. You're not receiving a certain like feminine energy that helps you feel balanced. So certain parts of you or the other parts of you might respect a lot of the people around you, but they don't provide to you. Like you're starting to get really dried out and you could use some watering, you know? That feeling like that part of you isn't really being nourished in some way. What can you tell us about Aquarius? Really? Oh, this one's Lion Spirit. Be generous of spirit. I like this card. I actually like it breaks down also down to a 1. So you might be single or newly single or thinking about taking the leap of being single for a while and feeling scared of that. I don't know. Just let me read it to you though, because I always struggle with the meaning of that one, and I like the meaning of it in the book. I try not to use the book too much because it doesn't really help when you do live readings anyways. You can't memorize everything. And then you're not being generous of spirit. Okay, I have a personal love of lions. I mean, I don't know what it is about them. I feel a deep intrinsic connection with the lion spirit, the Lion King, you know? It's like, I love the Lion King. I love that movie. I love all of it. Imagery, the opening imagery. They pan across the Sahara there and the sun comes up, and the sun represents Leo. I'm going to have a heavy Leo year actually because I have all those planets active in my ninth house in Leo. So interestingly, and it actually reminds me more of the ascendant, like that scene in The Lion King reminds me a lot of our ascendant sign, because the way the sun comes up there, it dawns on the horizon and it's the first spark of consciousness, and that's what our ascendant is. It's that first right there over the horizon, and that's unique to us. That's our moment, the very minute we were born. That's where it was interacting with that sign. I mean, a soul was born into matter. Hi, sweetie. I love you. Come here. You want to be with mom? Look at my little lions here. My heart space is beating. Come here. That's my girl. She's so sweet. It's okay to not know what you want for a while. You're not gonna die being by yourself. I do it all the time, and I've been doing it for a few years now almost, just being alone. And I don't feel all alone, you know? You don't. You can do it. You find ways to make space for what you actually want, what is yours, what belongs to you, what is in your mind versus what is somebody else's. Who am I, you know? Who am I if I don't have another person to reflect back to me? You have to jump into the nothingness, into the void, and face the fear of that nothingness for a while. And from there, your spirit will envelop you and tell you who you are. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You really can't unsee it. It's amazing. I don't even know how to explain that. So I'm going to read this. Be generous of spirit. The oracle message says a healthy ego means you ease God's order instead of edging God out. Lion Spirit's appearance is a reminder that you have been given the gift of pride and a healthy sense of your worth to express your divine, authentic self in a unique way. You are both the king and the queen. Whoa! What was I saying with that? Buffalo, that imbalance, feeling like you don't have a certain energy around you. You are both the king and the queen, secure in your prosperity and wisdom and generous of spirit as you help others. Take pride in your ability to serve from the heart. Contentment with what you have right now allows you to use your resources wisely as you give to others in ways that educate, heal, inspire, and delight. Be proud yet humble. Practice gratitude, and you will find that the accolades that come to you are no match for the joy of knowing what you have been able to do for others through expressing the bounty of generosity within you. Lion Spirit knows there is a great savannah before you and many who will benefit from the healthy expression of your unique set of gifts if you choose to work in partnership with Spirit. All your relationships flourish as you express your worth and generosity of spirit with humility and kindness. What a blessing you can be to all. I just pictured also somebody who hates, is racist, and what we can do when we hate a group or hate somebody is serve them, do something for them, so that you can relieve yourself of that feeling of hatred. Actually, it helps you. We serve. When you serve, like if you're angry at your wife or your boyfriend, and you're not grateful for them or happy, serve them, and you will start to love them again. You will start to feel loving feelings for these people again, and maybe serve yourself. So there's so much resistance. That's it for Aquarius. That was just 2 cards, actually. I'm really wiped out. Okay, that's it for tonight. I'm gonna have to go, and then it's already midnight, and then I'm gonna have to go. Come back tomorrow. I promise. I'm getting much more reliable. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye.